The most important thing in life is to have that hope that tomorrow's going to be a better day and tomorrow's going to bring about bigger challenges and bigger obstacles that you can conquer, and keeping true to that philosophy of always trying to achieve your dreams, whether it's something you can achieve like this hour or, something to have that sort of hope and that dream alive, to continually try to be as good as you possibly can and to be better than you thought you could be, and just always be trying to live your life to a quality that is something that you aspire towards. My name's Dean Clifford, and I share hope every day of my life through sharing my story and living my life with the simple philosophy to never admit defeat. Something that I believe passionately about, and I hope you guys enjoyed my story.
Welcome to I Share Hope, the podcast where world leaders share their real stories of hope and how you can use actionable hope to start changing your life today. And now, here's your host, Chris Williams.
What's up, Dean?
Hi, Chris. How are you, mate?
Man, I'm doing killer awesome. How about you?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
I love that picture you have on Skype with that serious weight in your hands.
Thanks.
So,
yeah, it's just a photo shoot about a year or so ago, and they said, they wanted me to bring my whole equipment, and I'm like, you realise it's about 150 kilos plus all the equipment, and just bring what you can then.
So where were you at for that photo shoot?
It's actually a location here in Brisbane, one of the historical areas in Brisbane, and just right near the water, the river there, and it's a really awesome little setup, and it's completely illegal. We weren't supposed to be there, but the photographer found the location, so we were getting moved along by the security every now and then, and we'd rush back and set up again, and we were there for about 5 hours.
So you thought the best thing to do with your illegal location photograph was post it all over social media, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I use it on my website and on all my travels, and everyone asks, "Where's the location?" And, it's a little secret spot in Brisbane.
All right. So where are you right now?
I'm at my home base in Brisbane now, yeah, so
Great.
Just relaxing today, and actually trying to launch my new website later this week, so busy on the computer working on all the annoying little bits that you do to get the website up.
Yeah, I stuff just makes me pull my hair out. I hate it. It's just... Oh my goodness. There's if it's supposed to be I Share Hope, there's nothing less hopeful to me than building the I Share Hope website. It's that'll drain it out of you every time.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, it's a nightmare process, but yeah, it's coming along, and hopefully by the end of the week it'll be up and running then, and yeah, that'll be one less thing I have to worry about.
Good for you. Good for you.
What about you? Where are you based?
I am in Memphis, Tennessee. So it's about 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that in the evening here. What is it, about 10 a.m. your time?
Yeah, about 10:30
Okay.
a.m. So yeah, I was trying to work out the right time so it wasn't too hard for you. So.
It's okay. I appreciate your time. I really do. I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot of engagements, and I can't thank you enough for taking the time to share with us. So you got people from, I think, it's like 70 or so countries all over the world listening to you and watching you on YouTube right now. So thank you so much for jumping in here and sharing with us.
Yeah, no worries, Chris. I've been keeping an eye on what you've been doing since we first started emailing, and I think it's a great idea, and very, very keen to be a part of it all.
Man, thank you. All right, well, let me just look at your bio here, because I want to read a few of these things off so the people that are getting to listen along with me get to really know who you are. This is a really cool bio. So there's so much more above this, but I don't want to spoil Dean's stories. I'm just going to read you this. Dean Clifford's life story is one of extremes. Dean's life is in many ways is about achieving the impossible on a day-to-day basis. Dean has rewritten the medical books. He's a record holder, an ambassador for the Brisbane Broncos Rugby League Football Club, which is really cool, by the way, a brand ambassador for Toyota Australia, a spokesperson for Deborah, In Dean's downtime, he trains and keeps professional athletes honest in the gym. I want to hear more about that. And
Yep.
Dean is a living testament of the power of walking his talk, thriving where others unfortunately have not survived. That's literally true. And Dean, thank you again for being with us today. I really appreciate your time.
No, my pleasure, Chris. I'm more than happy to share any parts of my life that you want to touch on today.
Well, I think you're going to have your fair chance to do that. So here's what I'm going to do. As you know, we're interviewing 1,000 leaders of hope around the world. So we're really selective about how we do this. In fact, Sai is a full-time person on the I Share Hope staff. And most of what she does, she directs how the podcast production goes, but most of what she does is actually looking for and selecting our guests. So you're one of 1,000. You're literally representing 8 million people, if you want to look at it. I guess that's how it slices up based on world population. So thank you. And you answer these questions your way. This is not about anybody else's answers, not about our answers. We want to hear from you. So let me ask you question 1, and we'll see where this thing goes.
No worries at all.
Okay. So question 1 is, what is your favorite quote about hope or your definition of hope?
Well, hope to me kind of fits into the dreams category, which is something that I talk a lot about in all my presentations, how important it is to dream big and to dream small and dream about all the things that you want to achieve today and tomorrow and then 10 years down the track and long term, so to me, hope kind of embodies that dreaming persona of just the most important thing in life is to have that hope that tomorrow's going to be a better day and tomorrow's going to bring about bigger challenges and bigger obstacles that you can conquer, and keeping true to that philosophy of always trying to achieve your dreams, whether it's something small that is something you can achieve like this hour, or something to have that sort of hope and that dream alive, to continually try to be as good as you possibly can and to be better than you thought you could be, and just always be trying to live your life to a quality that is something that you aspire towards. And so I can't sort of quantify a single quote into what hope means, because it encompasses so much into what I want to do in the future, how I'm living my life now, and sort of just the day-to-day goals and the long-term goals that I have that I focus on every single day of my life, ticking them off and make sure every minute of each day is as quality as it can be, and achieving as much as I want to achieve or can achieve. So to me, hope is just about that endless possibility, really, and just achieving more than you ever thought was possible.
That's really cool. You said something in there that was different than what other people have said before you. You've said a lot of things that are really cool, but a lot of common themes come up in these podcasts. Something new I heard was you said not just living each day because there's a hope of it getting better, but you actually said living each day because there's going to be challenges, and it gives you another chance to basically beat the challenges. That's a spin, because a lot of us, nobody wants to get too Disney movie on things and say, oh, life's going to be awesome tomorrow, because it might not be, but you got a chance to kick it in the teeth and go at it again, right?
Yeah. There's all different kinds of challenges. Like for me, my challenges are a medical challenge, a day-to-day routine just to be able to survive. But then beyond that, there's how am I going to achieve the dream of every man and woman alive? And how am I going to me, it's not just good enough to just wake up, do my medical routine and sit down and wait to go through the process again tomorrow. It's about, okay, I've ticked that goal off of getting through the medical routine and making sure my health is at its absolute best. But now how am I going to test the boundary and achieve a personal goal or personal dream or some sort of other challenge? And every day, like you said, every day comes along with different challenges. Sometimes they're insignificant to yourself or to my best friends or whatever, my work colleagues. They'll seem insignificant and trivial, but to me they're really challenging and really difficult. So it's just being aware of every challenge and being
Awesome.
open to taking it all on and achieving the small milestones, patting yourself on the back while still sort of aiming high and aiming for that big goal that you're still trying to achieve.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I need to hear today personally. So thank you. You're hitting it. All right, question 2. Who's shared the most hope with you? So that kind of hope you're talking about, who's really instilled that in your life?
It's got to come back to my family, really. My parents, when I was, on a life and death struggle for the better part of 15 years, most of my entire childhood. The medical world and the specialists and the doctors that I would visit often said to me, well, we hope you're still alive next month.
Wow.
If you are, we'll book you in and come back and see us again, and we'll see what we can do then. And it was always like no one expected me to live. When I was born, my skin literally started to break down after the first 6 hours of being alive. And from there, it was basically no chance of surviving. So the medical world gave me no chance. There was a lot of experimental processes that were tried and everything, but it was still just hope for the best. And so it was my parents that sort of instilled that, no, we're not going to sort of sit back and cry about poor me and, worry about the next challenge. We're going to get on and face life, and we're going to live life to its fullest and make sure every day counted, because we didn't know whether I'd see my 5th birthday or my 10th birthday or, all the milestones that every child takes for granted when they're, learning to drive a car or, thinking about life after school and careers. None of that. The medical world and the general community didn't expect me to survive, to have any goals like that. So the people that really instilled that belief in myself and that hope to achieve and to make sure every day was quality, definitely for my entire life, it's been my parents.
That's awesome.
They've been a huge driving factor. But then also the people that I come into contact with over the years that I've been sharing my story as a speaker and traveling around and meeting people in the community that are just trying to live their life and be, as I said, the best version of themselves that they can be. And I get a lot of thrill out of that. I'm not the type of person that sort of looks at celebrities or looks at sports stars and sort of thinks, wow, they're inspiring. I love the everyday people that are just living their life and making the most out of their opportunities and their struggles and just trying to make themselves a better person. Over the years I've done quite a bit with drug and alcohol organisations, from people trying to get out of addictions and out of their personal circumstances that they've found themselves in, and that gives me so much hope and inspiration that people are trying to make the best of a difficult circumstance that they've found themselves in and trying to turn their life around to make their life more quality and more fulfilling in the community and just in their day-to-day life. So hard to really... The quickest answer is just my parents, to answer that question as simply as I can.
That was a good answer. I like the long version better.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
Good. All right, so with those people behind you and that kind of hope that you're talking about, take us back to a time and help us understand, paint that picture of when you really had to use that kind of hope to get through a tough day. So you're going to have to start wherever you want to start in your story. And
yeah, well, to give the people a bit of a background, I was born with a very rare genetic skin condition called Epidermolysis Bullosa, It's more commonly known as cotton wool babies through the media, or EB for short. And so basically what that means is my skin has the strength and consistency of basically a wet tissue, or tissue paper basically. So everything from being alive, talking like right now, that's supposed to be too traumatic on my skin. Standing, the pressure on that my skin would take from standing is supposed to be traumatic for my skin on my feet to tolerate. And blinking, you name it, everything is supposed to be just too traumatic for my skin to be able to handle. So to look at it like from, you can break it down into the massive situations of being in hospital and literally struggling to find a way to take another breath. And sort of, I remember as a little kid, I'd be in hospital and I'd look out at the say, and try to find the stars or something. And at night time in the city there, it's quite difficult, as you can imagine. But I'd sort of sit there and try to look out and just hope that I was going to survive through to the next morning, and then take on the next challenges of going through the next operation or the next procedure, because back then it was all completely experimental, and the medical world was desperate to learn, because I was continually able to survive and able to, as I said, no one expected me to survive to next month, let alone next year. But I found myself as, 8-10-year-old still alive and still, continuing to fight all the obstacles. So from the medical world, they were fascinated with what was happening to my skin and to my body and my internal organs and everything, because not many people had been alive around the world, more than the first few days or first few months of life, So there was a lot of times when I'd have to rely on that hope and that sort of belief that tomorrow was going to be a little bit easier than the day before, and that I could continue to overcome the next obstacle. But then you can take it down to a smaller level and just being able to go to school. And I can remember as a young child trying to fit into, if you can imagine on my face, you can still sort of see the scar outline around my face there. I had absolutely no skin on my face. If you'd like, I can post up a photo of when I was, a 5-year-old, and there literally was no skin on my face. So, to go out into the community and have people my age completely terrified of the way I looked or how I was, and even adults being scared and being nervous to be around me because of the way I looked and everything. There's just that sort of having to have that family support and that sort of structure in place to be able to overcome the negativity that was around, and the sort of constant question marks, I guess you could say, and sort of unsure about what this kid was, and whether I was somebody that was severely burnt or whether I was something that was contagious that people should avoid, because people were scared to shake my hand because they weren't sure if they'd damage my skin, and then B, they weren't sure if it was something that they were going to catch off me, so there's been a lot of times just in the general day-to-day life that you'd have to rely on that sort of hope, that sort of belief that you could, break down the barriers and get people to understand that I'm not something to be fearful of, I'm not something to sort of be scared of. And, there was somebody who loved sport, who loved socializing with family and friends the same as everybody else, and loved just living life and wanted to be a part of the world kind of thing. So there's been all sorts of different circumstances ranging from, now as, I'm 36 years old, from just, the past couple of years where, I'd never in my wildest dreams thought I'd be sharing my story on this scale with you today, let alone traveling around as a speaker, sharing my story to audiences all around the world, and having to still break down the barriers and the misconceptions and, uncertainties. There's a lot of times in day-to-day life that I found I've needed to go back to just focusing on that belief of tomorrow being the better than the today, and tomorrow bringing new obstacles that I can chase, and not to hold myself back for fear of failure or any of those things. And so, yeah, that sort of hope, that's a real tangible thing that I use. It's not on a day-to-day basis. It's sort of on a whatever's next basis, whatever's next to this hour, or whatever's next, later today or this evening or this week, you name it. There's countless times when, all I've sort of relied on is that sort of blind faith of, yep, I can do this. I'm the right person for this job, and I'm not going to be, intimidated by the circumstances that I find myself in. And you go in, with that hope and that sort of blind faith that you're going to get the job done. And it's luckily, more times than not, I've been able to work out ways to get what I want, get my message across and get myself established. And I've had a great time, in living my life, and sort of living my life without that sort of restraint of what if and fear of failure, I guess you could say.
You're kicking butt. I'm impressed.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's been an amazing journey. Yeah.
So, you're doing a lot with sports teams. Let's go to question 4, because that's where my natural questions are going there. So I may as well call it a question, right? So,
yeah.
Question 4 is, how are you sharing hope today? So you're mentioning speaking and all that kind of thing, but talk about, like you say, you're keeping professional athletes honest in the gym, or you're doing a lot of work with a rugby league. I mean, where does all that fit? What are you doing there? How are you sharing hope with people? I'm just going to call it what it is. People so often get stuck sharing hope because they think that somebody else is so far away from their reality that they can't reach them. But you're reaching people that are so far away from your reality, and you're just doing it with boldness. So teach us how you're reaching people that are outside of your own personal box, because most of us just, frankly, we get stuck in our box and we don't want to reach out to somebody else.
Yeah, I think it's just that sort of not holding myself back. I'm more than happy to talk to somebody that just, walks up if I'm queued up to get a drink at a convenience store or whatever, and somebody walks up and says hi to me, I'll just start chatting away, and I'm more than happy to talk to the guy sitting waiting for the next bus, kind of thing. I've sat down and started talking with homeless people, when I've had a free minute and everything. And to me, it's just being open to listen to people. And sometimes the people are too busy in their own day-to-day life. But like you were saying with the rugby team, later this afternoon, I'll be just going down to the gym, and sharing hope to me is as simple as me just doing my gym workout, and I'll be training beside people that are professional athletes that are earning, 20 times more money than me, and that have celebrity and have fame and have everything like that. But the trainers that I train with, they'll pull them up and say, well, why you're a professional athlete, yet here's Dean over just here training side by side, and he's still more dedicated and committed and lifting more than you and training harder than you, yet it's not relating to Dean's job at all. It's just a hobby of his. And so being open to engaging with people in the gym and being able to motivate without sort of being employed. I am employed in a way with the football club as an ambassador, but my role is to sort of talk one on one with players and different people when they've got issues. But I'll just go down to the gym and just train with them and make sure they see by example what I'm doing, that I'm no different to them, and oh wow, there's somebody that's lifting 20 or 30 or 50 kilos more than me, and yet he's physically so disabled and so limited in
Wow.
what I can do, yet in the gym I'm able to lift weights without any damage to my skin and damage to my health. It's only ever been a hugely beneficial and value adding thing to be exercising and to be training the way I train. And I'll be training a friend of mine that used to play sport but was injured, and so about 5 years or so ago he was injured, and he said to me about 6 months ago, he said, Dean, I need to get healthy again. I need to get back to exercising and hitting the gym. So can I come train with you? And the way I've improved my life and with the things I've been able to do since I started exercising 10 years ago has inspired him to get back healthy again, and he now has very little complications with his shoulder, which was
Wow.
a reason why he had to stop playing his sport and everything. So we've been able to start training together, and he's learnt off me and copied me and modified my program to suit him and his needs and requirements, and we've been able to get his health back on track where he's firing
That's
again.
so cool. It's inspiring to see someone else overcoming, especially when when I know that I have something I need to overcome. I want to draft with somebody who already is overcoming. I want to get behind them and get in their wake, because it makes it easier for me.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing, is to not be afraid to go up to somebody and sort of say, "Hey, I like what you're doing. How are you doing that?" And I've found in my personal circumstances that most people, you'll occasionally get some negative people that are guarded and keep their secrets to themselves. But with me, it's an open book, and if I'm doing something, whether it's in the gym or whether it's with my career or whether it's with my personal life or whatever the case may be, that is going to be beneficial to somebody else, then it's all a win-win. So I'm more happy to share what I do with everyone that I come into contact with, and hopefully someone else can value add onto that, and build it even bigger and better, and
Yeah.
achieve great things through that. So it's been an amazing sort of journey.
That's awesome.
Going back a long time now. Yeah.
So, question 5. I mean, you're doing this very naturally. Question 5 is pretty next step. So, how do I, and how do the rest of the people here at I Share Hope? How do we? Everybody's listening, watching. How do we do hope better right after we get done listening to you or watching you on YouTube? However, we're getting to know you. What do we do next? What are the simple ABC steps that I should be doing to either grow as a person of hope or share hope with somebody else?
Yeah, I think like we were saying, sort of not being afraid to reach out to people, and whether it's my personal circumstances, I've got, as I said, my family is super important to me, but then I've got a extended group of circle of friends that are basically family again. We're super close, and I wouldn't class myself as having um, you know hundreds or thousands of friends. I've got tons of people all around the world that I talk to, and I class as friends, but I've got a really small core group of people that are my family, and so we live in each other's lives and everything, but not being if you're not lucky enough to have that sort of close family bond or having that sort of close group of friends, if you I talk to people who move to different areas, and they're starting without a circle of friends or a support structure in place. And to me, I think the world is so open to finding people to follow like yourself and what you guys are doing with I Hope, and just connecting with people and following them, and then working out, okay, how do I what do I have to do in my day-to-day life to better myself, and what are the goals that I want to set, like we were saying before, the small term goals to achieve you know better today, or to do your hobby better, or to do whatever it is that little bit better that you enjoy, then to find that passion, that sort of spark that gets you interested, and then sort of if you're in a career that's struggling, that you're not interested in anymore or whatever, find that social outlet that you're passionate about, that's going to get you motivated and get you keen to achieve something, and sort of working on those little day-to-day things that you can achieve to be the best version of yourself. I live my life, it's sort of difficult to explain, but I live my life by sort of five sort of key philosophies. It's
Great.
sort of having the basic breakdown is having the dreams, having the belief in myself, having the zero negativity in my life, which is incredibly difficult to do at times, but to focus on whatever it is you need to do to eliminate the negativity, then having the right people in your life, and then I've lost track of where we're up to. Having the attitude to go out and achieve it, and to not be limited by whatever the circumstances around me, or if something bad is happening in the world and everything. It's sort of having that attitude that, okay, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to live my life, I'm not going to hold myself back.
So it was dreams, having the dreams, having the belief in yourself, having no negativity,
Zero.
and then friends to support you on the journey, and then the right attitude.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
sort of I try to focus those five sort of keys on, every aspect of life, like when I'm the some days where you just don't feel like getting out and leaving the house for whatever. We all have those days, we all have those sort of down days and everything, but then focusing on what it is that's causing that, and what's got you feeling like that, and working out, okay, I'm going to focus on that attitude, focus on being a stronger attitude, or more resilient, and more open to new things and new situations. And I'm going to get out, and as I said, it might be just as simple as getting out and going for a walk down the street, or taking. I've got two dogs that are sitting right beside me here at the moment, so it might be just as simple as taking for a walk and getting out, or calling up one of your friends, and then, okay, let's do something, let's make today matter, and let's send an email off, or let's ask something for my website, or let's, share something with somebody and connect with through the social media ways or whatever the case may be, and share why, I'm feeling down or I'm feeling uninspired or whatever. Everyone has those days, and then you find that way to get out there. So, as I said, just something small or something big, someone to, come and, yep, let's go for a chat down at the cafe, or let's go for, let's get out, or let's sit down here and let's work on the computer and let's come up with a new harebrained idea in the gym, or whatever the case may be.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right, so where can people find you if we just can't get enough and we want to keep tracking the story and hearing you repeat those 5 things in our head? Because I'm telling you, I need those. Particularly number 3 was a good one, not to have zero negativity, because that's easy for me to focus on the negativity. So website, social media, what's the best place to track you down?
Yeah, my website is deanclifford.com, and that's about to be relaunched any day now, and so I always put up new content on that, different events that I'm speaking at and where people can find me, or different little things that I'm doing. And otherwise on Twitter, it's Dean Clifford is my Twitter handle, or Facebook. You can find me on that. All those social media platforms, pretty easy to find these days.
Is it Dean Clifford everywhere?
Pretty much, yeah. It's Dean Clifford, or as I said on Twitter, it's Dean Clifford, ITS Clifford. So, but
it's Dean. I see. It's Dean Clifford. Okay.
That's
gotcha.
it, yeah.
Okay,
unfortunately,
cool.
I'm not sure who claimed the Dean Clifford.
I was going to say, if you got your own name on a Twitter handle, that's impressive. You got to be like day one of Twitter,
I think so, yeah. But yeah, pretty easy to find through all the search engines these days.
Yeah.
And, yeah, my website is, again, where everything is driven off as well, so you can just go to deanclifford.com and find me through there usually.
If for some reason you can't find him, just at iShareHope.com, we're going to just look for Dean Clifford's interview on the interview tab, and we will have all the links, pictures, whatever, Dean, you want to send us. If you want to shoot us an email of any pictures you mentioned earlier, I'd love to have that just to go along with the story. We transcribed the Q&A here, so if you want to go back and see some of these notes, quotes, whatever, we're going to put it there at iShareHope.com, so you can just grab it for free, and that'd be really awesome. So, Dean, you said in your bio that you were an ambassador for Toyota Australia.
Yep.
What is that? Like,
it's Toyota Australia came on board basically as soon as I started speaking. They were one of my first big presentations that I was booked for. I think it was literally about 2 months after launching myself as a motivational speaker.
That's amazing.
I come from a very small town in regional Queensland, which is a population of about 5,000, I think it is.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, very, very small town. And so when I started speaking, my goal was literally just to become well known in the community and in the sort of the small radius of where I lived, and sort of I had a 10-year sort of vision to establish myself as a speaker inside Queensland, just my state that I live in basically. And so I started speaking at very small events, and Toyota Australia heard about me and invited me to travel to Sydney to speak, and they booked me, as I said, my first speech outside of my hometown, basically. And I can remember it was an amazing. It still feels like it was yesterday. It's over 10 years ago now. It's sort of, but it still feels like yesterday. I went there and it was an amazing setup, and I spoke to the 5 top executives in Australia. Basically, they had time out of their day to listen to me speak, which was amazing. And it's a huge, big boardroom of about probably couldn't seat probably 500 odd people, and there were
Whoa.
just five people sitting at the front to hear me talk.
Whoa.
And so shared my entire presentation and had, as I said, all the photos of my past and what I dreamed for the future and what I wanted to achieve and everything, and shared my basically my hour and a half presentation that I had drafted at the time. And from there, they invited me to stay and have lunch with them. And the boards, all just the five people just said, "Well, we love what you're doing. How can we be a part of it?"
Whoa.
And we loved the idea, and we love what you did for us. And so, yeah, I stayed for lunch with them and talked for a couple of hours, and I still couldn't believe that five of the top executives in Australia, let alone within Toyota, but within Australia itself, took a few hours out of their day to listen to a little kid from the country, basically, in my opinion. And so I left it at that. I thought nothing would come of it. I went away and I got a letter then a month later to say they loved what I did. They were on board completely, and so they offered to become my sponsors. And over the years, that just evolved into becoming a brand ambassador now for Toyota Australia. And so whenever I'm speaking at charities, Toyota help get me to those events and get me to share my story. And, they've been amazing to be so involved with myself for so many years now,
Wow.
when I still consider myself as a very small person in the grand scheme of things. Toyota could focus on, sporting clubs, or which they do so much work
Yeah.
with, looking after sporting clubs. Sorry about that. The dogs are just going nuts. And but yet they were passionate about coming on board to look after me, and they loved the idea. Excuse me for a second. Settle down. No, he's off checking what's happening around the house. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, Toyota have been on board now for 10 years and have been on board with everything that I've come up with, from the little wristbands that I have with some of my motivational quotes on. They've been supplying them for a number of years for me to give out to events and organisations, and to little postcards that I make up with my quotes and things, so people can have something afterwards to stick on their wall and remind themselves of what I said and what I do, which I think is a really important thing, to have something that people can keep with them, and remember through just stick up on the fridge or stick up wherever that they might be, have in their wallet or something, just with one of the little quotes or something. And so, yeah, Toyota have been a part of everything that I've sort of come up with, and have all been incredibly supportive. So it's
super cool.
Huge to have them on board as a personal sponsor and supporter of mine. Yeah.
Amazing. Cool story.
Yeah.
Cool that a big company like that does that too. That's just, you think they just throw all their money at big sporting events because that's where you see their stuff, but they're actually, this is a bigger impact. No knock on the rugby guys, but what you're doing has a bigger impact on people than a sporting event. It just does,
Well, yeah, that's sort of the way I see it. I was when I was younger, there was always that dream, because I am such a sports orientated person, and I love going to sporting events. Don't get me wrong, and I'm a very active person, and there always was that dream. I'd love to be a professional athlete like so and so, or whoever it might be, but I consider it a huge privilege to be in the position that I am these days, and be able to, talk to yourself and be able to have time for somebody else struggling with a severe disability or severe, limitations, or just other people that are struggling with depression and with, mental health issues, to be able to share my story and sort of break down the sort of barriers that people create in their own head and their own circumstances and
So
their
true.
own life, I think it's something that I don't think I'd be able to do if I was just another sporting identity. I think
Right.
it's something that I'm incredibly fortunate enough to be able to have the life experience that I've had, to be able to draw on everything that I talk about, whether
So
it's
true.
today or whether it's planning for an event coming up in far north Queensland that I've got coming up in the near future. To be able to draw on my experiences and draw on the good times, the bad times, and the negative times and the positive times, and the all the different things that I've been through. It's a huge privilege to be able to share my story and hopefully inspire, the next generation or the current generation or whatever, and be able to have that light bulb moment go off in the audience. It's such
Yeah.
a privilege to be able to be part of.
It's a privilege to hear you doing it right now. Thank you.
Thank-
Hey, we have each of our guests say their name and I share hope, or your name and something about you or your organization or whatever you want to do, and I share hope. That way we can put that audio clip at the beginning of the podcast. So
Yep.
if I just zip it for a second, you can say whatever you want. Just make sure your name and I share hope is in the middle there somewhere, but fire away.
My name's Dean Clifford, and I share hope every day of my life through sharing my story and living my life with the simple philosophy to never admit defeat. Something that I believe passionately about, and I hope you guys enjoyed my story.
Man, that's good. That's great. Thank you.
No worries, Chris.
Dude, you're awesome. I'm impressed. It's a killer story, but also just killer action, and that's the action that I need to take. I am doing this podcast for me. I'm so thrilled that other people are enjoying it, but I come through some recovery on some stuff, and having people like you to draft off of. That's just what it amounts to. I can draft off of it and get the funk off my head, get the clouds out of my eyes, and just say, quit the negativity, get going. And you've been inspiring that way, and that's the message I need to hear tonight, Memphis time tonight, morning time, your time. But that's what I needed to hear today, so thank you.
No worries, Chris. Thanks a lot. It's been a great time. I've really enjoyed chatting to you, and if I can help out in any way in the future, don't hesitate to contact me.
I will contact you for sure. Thank you very much.
Awesome, Chris. Talk to you again soon.
Good talking to you, man. Thanks. Bye-bye.
You've just listened to I Share Hope. If you're ready to make a change, head to our website at isharehope.com and claim your free copy of the top 10 actions of hope from world leaders to use hope in your own life. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.